Hello. Okay, this seems like a better start than before. Right, as you can see, I'm really struggling. Not just cold, my ears are bunged up. I've got a really bad sore throat, and I've been off work the last couple of days now, and I'm literally just trying my best just to sleep and watch stuff. And underneath the bed, this is, if you follow on the channel, there used to be a bookcase here. At the very bottom there was just a full shelf of the Good, the Bad and the What the Fuck series I've been working on for years now. And I want to end the series, so this is the last one for Wesley Snipes. The shelf is full of stuff like Christian Slater's done, Van Damme's in limbo if I wanted to finish Van Damme, Nicolas Cage, Bruce Willis. There's a lot of their films, and Scott Adkins underneath there, and a lot of them I haven't seen. So I was being ill, I'm like, right, and I've looked at Wesley Snipes and gone, right, he can be done. So again, like, I do look at these essential throwaway videos. I think Wesley Snipes is an amazing actor who's sort of got his second wind. I am tempted to watch that Kevin Hart one. Again, this will take place over, I mean, it's nearly New Year's Eve. This will go into the new year, this. But last night, when I was really, really ill, I watched Whiteout. And it hasn't been that long since I watched Whiteout because I did a fast forward review for it. And then I watched Rising Sun, and Rising Sun has been on the Wesley Snipes before. I think it's an amazing film. It's just disappeared again for a while. I just love the way they use the camera technology and the CCTV and Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes. It's a great film. Harvey Keitel. It's a massive cast. So this morning I was like, right, and I looked under the bed and there was loads of Wesley Snipes films there. Now the first one, I've bought this on Blu-ray a long time ago and it's never been open until today. It's White Men Can't Jump. Now I'm a bit fucking Gremlins, man. I mean, I haven't even checked the cameras. I didn't even check how much tape was left on the camera. Fucking Gremlins, man. Right, it's a start from last night. I was ill, I watched Whiteout. It hasn't been that long since I watched Whiteout. And then I watched Rising Sun. So I've had to literally get up and leave this room and come back, put the lights off, everything, cause it right. But then I'm just like, I just need to wear myself out so I can go back to sleep. I watched Rising Sun now. Rising Sun has appeared on, what's upside down? Has appeared on The Good, the Bad and the What the Fuck's for Wesley Snipes. And I think Wesley Snipes is an amazing actor, and he's been in so many different films and so many different roles, and you know, he was a bona fide action star, but then shows how well he can act, but then a bona fide martial artist as well. But like, going head to head with Sean Connery, holding his ground, I think that film's amazing. I love the mystery, the murder mystery. It's a shame that it's just not still widely available. I think the only way it's been released on Blu-ray is actually as a steelbook. And it's weird because like, it's such a good film. The way they use the camera techniques, the head swapping, the blurring, and stuff like that for when it was made, I think it's well ahead of its time, and it's just such a good film. You know, and it's got a weird ending, you know, when she leaves the door open and you hear Sean Connery's voice and Wesley Snipes' this cheesy grin. It's just like, did you really need that? Really? So I watched Rising Sun, and then this morning I just pulled out the boxes, and as I say, there's a group of Wesley Snipes films there, so I thought, right, he's the less of the actors out of all of them. You know, there's a few Wesley Snipes, there's a few Scott Adkins, there's a lot of Bruce Willis, and there's a lot of Stallones there. So I'm going to work my way through these films and obviously put them together as one video, the end of The Good, the Bad and the What the Fucks, and this is the end of Wesley Snipes. So the one I picked up this morning was White Men Can't Jump. I've had that for a very long time but never opened it. Opened it up, watched it. Obviously this is the second time they've worked together because I worked on Wildcats. I recently got Wildcats on a big box VHS that had been cut down to fit into a small box, and then someone had put it back. That's now on the loft, so that'll probably not make the list. I don't know, maybe, you know, I might watch the new Kevin Hart one. I probably said that before the Gremlins appeared, but White Men Can't Jump would set up Money Train as well. I think White Men Can't Jump was way long. The extended cut was nearly 3 hours long. You know, it's just a hustle game, Venice Beach kind of thing. the bit where he throws the basketball backwards is mint. There's a lot of improv and a lot of like, you know, just jive and talk with like baseball, basketball, and you know, like I don't see much of the plot, and obviously he jeopardizes everything and again. She finally leaves, and it seems to set up with a sequel that we obviously got Money Train, but we didn't get anything more of this. There is some laugh out loud moments, but you know, Wesley Snipes again shows you how much of a chameleon is, a proper motor mouth. I've seen quite a lot of Woody Harrelson films recently as well. In fact, the film I watched before Whiteout was Kingpin, which hasn't aged well. So yeah, good film. Obviously on Blu-ray, as I say, part of the collection now. They're both 20th Century Fox, them two films. Now the next one, which just finished, that, you know, I always remember it. It was a bit of a waffle to say. Too Wrong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. And obviously Patrick Swayze, John Leguizamo and Wesley Snipes headline this one. It's to play drag queens. There's a lot of famous people in this, mind, from the 90s, especially when you talk about the female when they get to the village. Literally everyone is somebody you recognise from something. Robin Williams even pops up in this, randomly uncredited, as like one of the promoters. One of the Londons, I don't know if it's Jason London, I think maybe Jason London pops up. But Wesley Snipes just never breaks character in this. You see them getting dressed at the start, and they go on this little road trip. Obviously, was a big hit. I was to say, the Lady Boys of Bangkok's always a big thing when it comes to the northeast of England, and that has a massive cult following. Has been released on Blu-ray. Just never got around to Blu-ray, and in fact, I had it on DVD and I never opened it as well. But that just proves how like diverse Wesley Snipes can be. Is a indestructible killer like Simon Felix or Leroy Brown, where he's an absolute bastard, and you think, wow, to sort of somebody who is, you know, believable detective and rising sun, to then playing a drag queen. And again, we're showing you how well Wesley Snipes can act. So within them three films, I think each of them have their own cult following so far. The one I've just put in the screen is probably going to be a different story because it's called The Detonator. But yeah, as I say, with these ones, I'm just going to try and rant away and just put this series to bed for Wesley Snipes, for everyone of the actors I've done. But yeah, I'm making a start anyway. The reason why I need to get rid of them boxes under the bed is every time I push them in, the posters come out the other side, and then Brit keeps standing on the posters, and I can't really blame Brit for standing on the posters because I'm pushing the boxes in, because I get up in the morning and I stand on the boxes. It's a win-win situation for everyone. Just watch the films and file them away. Done, dusted, gone. Hello and welcome back to The Good, The Bad and The What The Fucks of Wesley Snipes. And it is The Detonator, and this is the rental copy, which, you know, might be the next generation of big box VHS, could be, you know, getting a rental copy of this. The fate of thousands is in their hands. Wesley Snipes, The Detonator. First off, before we go into this, obviously the bad guy, who I've actually got a screenshot, that's him from Aliens. Ain't seen him nothing in since Aliens. This is one of those looks like a Scream Factory one, you know, when actors jump across the pond into Europe and make some movies. Yeah, this is pretty bad, this one. At first, it doesn't even sound like Wesley Snipes is actually speaking and doing the narration. Wesley Snipes also channels a bit like from Tofu as well, as he's putting on quite a camp accent at the start, and there's a lot of football playing going on there. The tournament is actually uploaded in the background as well, so you can hear some filming there. Some of the support acting is terrible, absolutely terrible. You know, you've probably got Wesley Snipes for 2-3 weeks in this, and then make the film as it goes around. He's meant. You think detonate, you think big bombs, bomb disposal. He's looking after a girl who, you know, you think that you might get a raunchy scene like One Night Stand. You don't. You get this weird thing where she comes towards you and it keeps blurring, and you think, what the fuck? There's some, you know, Wesley Snipes shows off a bit of martial arts in there, but there's a bit where he's going along the tunnel and we get this massive explosion, and it's a practical explosion, so credits for that. But then it fixates on the car coming towards you and spins, and if you watch it, that is clearly a guy with a hood over his head, a black hood over his head, like clearly not Wesley Snipes, but like why fixate on that? So yeah, and then you've got the news report after it. The police are looking for a black man and a woman. Why can't it just be a man and a woman? Why does it have to be a black man and a woman? I'm like, yeah, that's, you know. But it just screams European. That it's just straight to DVD rental. Wesley Snipes puts his name on it. To be honest with you, I'm just looking over there, and even Wesley Snipes, his name's in red. So rental copy, The Detonator. You can hardly see Wesley Snipes there. But yeah, again, it's been sitting in the pile for a while. I wasn't too sure if I had seen it before. I hadn't. He did a lot of films this time. I mean, Wesley Snipes could essentially jump over to Europe, spend 6 months in at least 4 films. I remember a good one out of the bunch was 7 Seconds. He did it around this time, but the stuff like Art of War 2, Game of Death, which I believe I've bought and never watched on Blu-ray, so that might come along. Again, there's these films at that time when he jumped across there, and obviously this is where the tax evasion thing comes from as well. Not declaring when you're going back, stuffing as much money as possible in your socks and stuff, that kind of weird stuff. But again, I felt like it was now special. It could have been any actor. It could have been a Van Damme. It could have been a Seagal. It just depends who rolled the movie. And I thought the film was now special around. There was still ill. There was some, like special effect, good practical effects, but it was just really, really loose, and it had this weird look about it as well. So yeah, that was The Detonator, and it was a pretty bad film. Hello, right. What's disappeared? My beard! What's disappeared? The footage! Like, what? Okay, so the Wesley Snipes, The Good, The Bad, and What the Fox started approximately 8 weeks ago. And obviously you cram these films in, you watch them. Now over Christmas is always a hectic time. I've literally, my dad was here from New Zealand, so you want to talk about the era where we're doing this here. So we've had Highlander, Robin Hood, we've started filming the Holy Bible video, filming Matt Fairley's video, there's been some epic vlogs. Somehow the review, which would have been on the smaller camera which I'm filming on here, and unfortunately I've just wiped it down as well. It'll be somewhere in the archive, so it could be in any one of them video files, it could be completely random. You know, I wish you could choose your own thumbnails on some of this footage and all that. So like, what's that? And you're trying to get your head around, no, that's not that. So yeah, opened up the file and it's Wesley Snipes, and I've put it all together in one take, and it's an epic long video, and we're right bang in the middle because the beard's gone, so the beard goes within the video. And I'm like, right, where's Disappearing Axe? So Disappearing Axe is completely disappeared. It's been misfiled. So yeah, brilliant. Well done, Stephen. So again, JJ Perry's going to pop up in the outtakes, something to do with Expendables, foreshadow that. Should have said John Leguizamo and Wesley Snipes were in Tu Fu to Wong and all that kind of stuff. As well as Zigzag, missed that, so I can correct them errors, foreshadowing where we're going. So, Disappearing Axe, right? I put it on and watched it, and I was in the editing room like this, talking away. Wesley Snipes is as bold as me in this, and fully shaved, alright? So now at least I look like Wesley Snipes. Obviously, you know. I put this on, and I've had this for a long time, still sealed, and I put it on, and it's one of his best movies. I was completely blown away by it because this is Wesley Snipes acting. The story's dead laid back and chilled. It's from the writer of Waiting to Exhale, and I put it on, and I ended up watching it again that day. I can't tell you the last film I watched back to back. I remember watching Tremors 2 back to back when it first came out on VHS. I remember that, but for some reason I watched Disappearing Axe twice. Enjoyed it, and then I watched it again with Brittany straight away on that night time. And obviously when you're watching it, you're not editing, you look at different screens, you absorb more of the movie, obviously. It's mint. As I say, the cover didn't justify it. It's just a cuddle on the front cover, and I just find it ironic it's called Disappearing Axe, and the clip I was looking for has disappeared. Because when you're trying to align this all, filming on different cameras and stuff like that, you're trying to find the pathogen, and obviously I had a little help here because of beard, no beard, so that can be the start, and that's there, and just Disappearing Axe is completely missing. The movie itself, Wesley Snipes plays a guy who's just trying to make a living. He's got a couple of kids, he's got an ex-wife or whatever, and he meets this girl who's just moved into an apartment, and he's like a handyman trying to get a bit of work here and there. He ends up moving in with her. They end up having this massive love fest going on for ages, and then over time things get complicated, and Again, there's a lot going on. It's a really well-grounded movie. It's a breakdown. He keeps going missing. He keeps drinking a lot, and it shows you the downfall of a relationship and stuff like that. And then comes full circle at the end, and like, it's a really well-made movie. So Disappearing Acts has completely disappeared. Gives me the opportunity to push this into the video, some newer content. This will be the last thing filmed for this video. I know it's going to be around about the 50-minute mark of waffling and ranting. So yeah, dun dun dun. Yep, Disappearing Acts disappeared. Well done, Stephen. Actually, it's by my feet. Is it here? Look, it's completely disappeared. Hey. Here's the Wesley Snipes pile. Oh, there it is. HBO, Disappearing Acts. Based on the book. Powerful, passionate, sexy Snipes snizzles. Alright, okay. Back to the original video. Hello and welcome back to the Wesley Snipes, the good, the bad and the what the fox. I'm slightly getting better. Obviously it's been a couple of days since Disappearing Acts, which I've seen twice in one day. Oh lad, I watched that. Me and Britt watched it just after I watched it. I really enjoyed it. It's a cracking film. From cover, I think could be developed, and I think it should get a reissue. I think it needs preserved. I think it kind of, you know, Wesley Snipes was fucking awesome in it. Next movie, Cutthroat City, newer Wesley Snipes film. Yeah, had this since the day it was released. Never opened it. Didn't get a Blu-ray release here in the UK. From the director of RZA. It's got Ethan Hawke in there, so it reunites Wesley Snipes and Ethan Hawke from Brooklyn's Finest. Kind of feels like to me it's got a bit of connection to Training Day, as another actor is in there from Training Day. My god, what a mess of a movie. Like, this is one of the worst films I've seen Wesley Snipes in. Wesley Snipes is good in it, as he's an old granddad kind of character. Has a few scenes in this weird shed he lives in. But the film's messy. It looks like it's going to be just something about a fallout of a tornado, hurricane, and then it looks like it's going to go one way, it goes the other. And it just feels like scenes have been put together with actors, and then a timeline's been put, and then they're just being dropped and chucked out there. Some of the camera work is good, but my god, Britt wasn't impressed with the movie at all. She wants a refund of the hour and a half of her life. The ending was really messy as well. And the whole film felt like it wasn't going anywhere in directions. I know that seems pretty harsh, but it was the way it looked. It had that kind of low budget wanting to be good budget look. A lot of actors you've probably seen and stuff, but man, I mean, for Wesley Snipes, you know, potentially on paper it looks good. It was a good choice of a role for him, but man, just the overall finished production of the movie let it right down. I mean, the ending, and you're going to spoil it here. Is he dead? Isn't he dead? Looks like he's dead. It's not dead. It's almost, as I said, it looks like all these scenes are being developed on their own and then just put into a timeline of a movie that really has no consistency or that. So yeah, next one. That was bad. It's quite handy this makes no sense because it's just cut in, hasn't it, to the next clip. It's been a couple of days since the last Wesley Snipes film with the Cutthroat City. Same room. I'm sure the camera angle was up there, but light was up, ready, and camera was ready. I was like, where's the camera? And there it is. Sit down straight away. Waffle, here it comes. Right, okay, so the last couple of nights, it's been about 3 nights, for me it's 4 nights. I'm going to talk about 2 Wesley Snipes projects here, and both new. So, I hummed and hawed with Britt the other night, and I says, look, can we watch something, because Britt was a bit scarred off Cutthroat City. We loved Disappearing Acts. I watched that twice, and I says, can we start the new TV show, True Story, with Wesley Snipes? And she was like, well, what's it about? I says, I don't know, but it's Kevin Hart. And she wasn't really sold on Kevin Hart. And I tell you what, it's 7 episodes on Netflix. It's not the best name for the project. I don't think it should be called True Story, because I don't think it is a true story. I think it should be called something along the lines of My Brother's Keeper or something like that. Fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It just works so well. Kevin Hart plays Kid, who basically is at the height of fame, about to break $1 billion on his new film. He's on tour, he's back in his hometown. He's doing big sold out arena stand-up shows. Meanwhile, his older brother has got a record, got a rap, got a bit of a problem with debt, and Kid's a billionaire, about to become a billionaire or a millionaire. You know, he's basically got more money to do what he wants. There's loads of cameos in this. As I say, it's 7 episodes. All the episodes are all over the place. They're not locked down to like half an hour. I think some are 27 minutes long. 34, some are 40. It's, you know, it just flows, and it really goes fast because you're really hooked. Wesley Snipes again shows in this how good of an actor he is. Kevin Hart as well really shows you how good of an actor he is. I think like he goes from funny comedy to really being serious, and this really takes some unexpected turns. Now if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go and watch it. As I say, it's almost just like watching a 3-hour movie. We watched the first 2 episodes the first night. As I say, the first episode was more like a double episode, and then the second time we got down to sit down, which was a couple of days later, we watched 5 episodes back to back. And again, one of the episodes was just over 20 minutes long, so again, there's a lot of cameos in it. The story's great, and you just don't see it coming. Like, it's fucking class, and I think Wesley Snipes is just fucking unbelievable. Looks as slim as he's ever been in production, and like looking on his IMDb, there is a few popping up there I've never even heard of. But then there's one called Players or something like that. So he looks like since he's came out of jail, it looks like he has dibble-dabbled in a few TV pilots and that, but this seems to be the one that's just went boom fin. Like, what a comeback though, you know, stuff like, I'm looking there and I can see Final Call, and I can see Expendables 3, and I can see Gallo Walkers, which I think is something lost in limbo while he was in prison, or done just before, and what a fucking comeback from here. Kevin Hart is at the hype, you know. Kevin Hart and The Rock, they're just everywhere at the moment. For example, he's just got stuff coming out left, right and centre. So for Wesley Snipes coming in on this, you know what I mean, he's just going to show he's the chops in it. He's just absolutely fucking mint. What a mint show. Again, if it came out as a physical release, which I hope it does, because some of the like limited series on Netflix do creep out, I would buy that. I'd buy it on the shelf, not a problem, day release. So, while Netflix was on, after the series finished, so 5 episodes of Wesley Snipes, Brit said she wasn't ready for a movie, and Dolomite Is My Name is on Netflix and Netflix exclusives. Now, what Eddie Murphy has got his own Good, the Bad, the What the Fox. There is only a handful of Eddie Murphy films under the bed, which will probably be the next Good, the Bad, the What the Fox, just to wrap his side of the story up. But My Name is Dolomite, obviously filmed alongside Coming to America 2, and Dolomite is based on the true story as well. And put it on, Brit knew nothing about it, I knew nothing about it, and it just flowed so well. It's packed full of cameos, Chris Rock, Snoop Dogg, you name it. And it's about a guy who basically, he wants to be somebody, but you know, he basically hits it big by becoming a very foul-mouthed stand-up comedian on a recording, and it just flows really well. And he wants to make a movie, he wants to show passion. Remind me a little bit of Bullfinger, you know, when you see the behind the fourth wall of what's going on and the shenanigans. Wesley Snipes comes in as a known actor within the movie and goes on to direct, and just ends up being hilarious. You know, it's so well. I mean, to have Wesley Snipes and Eddie Murphy work back to back together with Coming to America 2, I think they just work so well. I mean, Eddie Murphy was great addition to Coming to America 2. I think he showed how funny he can be, and then True Story shows you how fucking ruthless he could be. I think, like, as much as, like, again, I think he should be in the Marvel Universe. He is pretty much Blade. Blade is the original comic book movie that went really, like, these are made for an older audience, you know what I mean? So I think him coming back into the MCU would be a massive deal, but I'm glad he hasn't really, like, jumped in on action movies straight away, like Game of Death, and that's to come. I haven't seen that. I've bought that the day it came out and I've never opened it. But like stuff like, he hasn't really gone back to Detonator, and that's Steven next door going to his engine room. He hasn't really jumped into that. He's stuck with the acting side of it, whether it be showing you how good he is as a dramatic actor or how good he is as comedy. So that was True Story and Dolomite Is My Name. And obviously I've got White Man Can't Jump here, Tofu, Rising Sun and Detonator. I was making a pile of his movies, but that seems to have gone out the window because Disappearing Acts isn't there, funny enough, and Cutthroat City isn't either. So I was meant to like try and keep them together, but hey, I'll just get them filed. There isn't a Wesley Snipes collection. There's Nicolas Cage, there's the Christian Slater, there's the 2 Coreys, but that's it. There's John Carpenter. But yeah. Right, so I don't know what's next. As I say, there's a few more under the bed. Wait and Exhale, Game of Death Zigzags there as well. So again, I'm not sure when I'll get around to watching this, but again, It is the good, the bad, the what the fucks. They can take place over a couple of months, but again, it's great to do this when you've got a fan of an actor and you just go back and go. You don't watch them in order. You just watch them, and like if you haven't seen them, you gotta watch them, and you really watch them, and you go, hang on, what are you doing? But yeah. Oh, and Wesley Snipes, what a great comeback for him. Definitely. Goodbye for now. So we're back. Wesley Snipes, the good, the bad, and the what the fucks. Now I'm not sure I've even filmed these reviews. I think I actually have, but because I'm doing a tape download tonight, I thought, well, you know what? Just another one to sort out. I think I have. So Wait and Exhale. I think I have, because Eddie Murphy. Anyway, I'll just rant it now, so it's there. It's a backup if it's not. We watched. Actually, I talked about My Name is Dolomite after True Story, so that's what I'm thinking of. So I don't need to review My Name is Dolomite. What I need to review is Wait to Exhale. So Wait to Exhale is the same writer or author as Disappearing Acts, and it's directed by Forrest Whitaker, who surprisingly enough doesn't make a cameo in the movie. Whitney Houston and Angelica Bassett, Leon's in it. There's a lot of famous people in it for the time, and then Wesley Snipes, uncredited, just pops up near the end as the his wife's dying when he's married, and he's sort of in a weird state of his life, and he meets and it's all about relationships, this movie. And it's a weird choice actually, because like for something that's dominantly about women and a women's point of view to be directed by a man, Forrest Whitaker has established himself as a really good actor and has directed a lot of movies, but I thought that was a weird, interesting choice as a director. The film to me flows a bit weird. I didn't like the music. I didn't like some of the cuts. It was a bit distracting. It totally distracted us. Whitney Houston gets a starring role, even though she seems to be in the back seat of this movie. Some nice locations in it. Wesley Snipes is great for when he turns up in it, but I was waiting for it to finish. As I say, I think it just got a bit messy. It jumped around a lot. It's there was a little bit weird consistency, and I found it distracting again. Oof. Yeah. There's only a couple more left. Now, I did try to start to watch Game of Death after this, right? And I had to stop watching it because I need to sit and pay attention to this, because this is bad. Hello. So, I kind of feel like I've seen this before, The Marksman. It's the one I've been putting off watching for a while. So there's only a couple of Wesley Snipes left. This will be a better film if Wesley Snipes wasn't in it. It's pretty much that. So it's got this look about it, and it's very drained of colour, and they've used a fuckload of stock footage, right? And like, fair enough, it works around the story. They've got the location. There's some, the camera frame is proper filled. Wesley Snipes, on the other hand, half the time doesn't look like he's in the same scene with people. It looks like his stunt guy does a lot of the stuff. He hardly in any action. And it'd just be a better film. It feels like more of a Dolph Lundgren kind of movie, or a Van Damme. So this is obviously filmed just after The Detonator, because William Hope's in it. So it's like almost like maybe it's the same production. It has this military kind of score in the background. That's, again, the movie goes that. There's some great practical explosions around what they've physically done, and obviously filled it out with the rest. And there's some kind of espionage about blowing up this nuclear thing, but it's just a stinking front cover, a really stinker. It's a really bad cover, and Wesley Snipes is never out of that costume until the very end. He's got minimum. But again, it's a Sony Pictures one. There's just something about the look of it. There's a lot of people involved in this, except the producer. But yeah, it's a bit of a stinker when it comes to Wesley Snipes and Blade. So yeah, there's The Marksman anyway. Now I need to find out what's next, because this one's nearly done. As I say, I'm not buying any more. Once they're under the bed, that's done. So I think Zigzag's one of the last ones. Hello! So there's 3 movies left in this Wesley Snipes, The Good, The Bad, and The What The Fucks. And this is the final one. And I've got an idea planned for that air freshener thing is definitely dying. Planned for the very end. So I've just watched Expendables 3. I tried watching Game of Death again. It wouldn't work on this Blu-ray player. For some reason it works in the bedroom. Then I put Zigzag on, which is an American import that actually works on here. Then Brit walked in and went, ooh, what's this? Now need to refrain from watching Zigzag. So I decided to watch The Expendables 3. Now, the problem with Expendables 3, Stallone is potentially one of the next Good, the Bad, and the What the Fuck's, the finals, because there's a lot of Sylvester Stallone films in that collection. But I've sat down there, and I know Expendables 3 gets a lot of hate. I've really enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, you bring in the new blood, but I think just watching that movie and looking at how you would schedule that, and it obviously has got Bulgarian roots, and JJ Perry, who's obviously was featured in the tournament as well as my movie, is a massive part of the Expendables 3. So, you know, I'm watching it there, and like, fair enough, the CGI, I hate fake fire. I think when you watch the Expendables, I think blowing shit up should be the forward way. But when you look at it and you just look at like scenes where you've got Schwarzenegger and Stallone in one scene, but then you've got throw Gibson in there, then Wesley Snipes. And when we talk about Wesley Snipes, obviously was meant to be in the original Expendables, and the whole line of what we're in prison for and tax evasion is just absolutely priceless. But Snipes really comes into this and holds his own. You know, he's essentially in there, and Terry Crews, I think, contracts with his TV show couldn't exactly be there, but like Wesley Snipes sort of replaces him in a way. Antonio Banderas coming in there as well from obviously Assassins, which is another great Stallone film with, you know, that, and Banderas obviously being Desperado and El Malarachi. He's not in El Malarachi, but it's the same kind of character. Yeah, it's great. You know, it's full on action there. You bring the new blood kind of thing in there, but like bringing Harrison Ford in, Shane Bruce Willis didn't want to come back. But there's a lot going on. And, you know, again, Snipes is just literally going toe-to-toe with Jason Statham. They were in another film previously called Chaos, which is a really good film as well. And again, it's great to see him come in. It's like, you know, reuniting Simon Phoenix and John Spartan together. And, yeah, it's great. You know, I really, really enjoyed Expendables 3. And number 4 is coming out. And again, no one's, there's minimum cast so far announced. I can kind of see with Expendables 4, Stallone getting killed off. That sets the spark, because originally it was meant to be a spin-off story, I think, from what I heard. But no, I sat there. As I said, Game of Death wouldn't work. Zigzag was working until Britt walked in, and then I decided to watch Expendables 3. So Expendables 3 was actually one of the collection in the back, but again, we're getting there, wrapping this one up. It's an epic long rant, but I knew these always were going to be.
Hello and welcome to the final part of the Good, the Bad and the What the Fuck's Wesley Snipes. This is the final one, so I've come up with an idea, like my light bulb idea. If you can hear the dog drinking in the background as a collar hits. Last night I watched a Zigzag, finally. Now this is a Canadian import, found at a charity shop, I believe. So it was a good buy, actually, especially if you're a Wesley Snipes fan. What a disappointment. Like, seriously. Heard about this, IMDb. And it's from the writer of Blade, David S. Governor. You know what I mean. David Goyer, Dark Knight, Dark City, you name it. He's had his dibble dabbles in all kinds of things, even going back to Death Warrant. And reteaming with Wesley Snipes. So this is the film he directed before Blade 3. As he came, the established writer, went on to direct. John Leguizamo and Oliver Platt in this, who were in Chef. Don't know if it was a bit of coincidence there. Luke Gloss and the chick, who I'm guessing is Natasha Nolony. I'm going to say Nolony. She's in Blade 3, and as I say, Luke Gloss is in Blade 2. And then Wesley Snipes is in there. Wesley Snipes plays the bad dad. He's whipping his son at the start, and it's pretty graphic. The story's about a kid who has autism, which makes Wesley Snipes even worse for what he's doing. And then it just gets really... It's... John Leguizamo is playing the big brother character. There's an investigation because some money goes missing. So it kind of got a bit of... If you've seen Waiting, it follows that kind of waiting thing. It's all happening in a restaurant. There's a lot of bullying in it. But some it just hit offbeat. You can see a bit where John Leguizamo clearly freestyles the birds and the bees to the kid, who's called Zigzag. 2 capital Z's, 2 small G's. He's freestyling the birds and the bees, and it's cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. There's a few times to do that with Leguizamo, because obviously he must be an absolute hoot to work with. And he plays a really dark role in it. Now, if you can hear the Blu-ray player in the background, there's a reason for that. We'll get there. We will get there. But I remember watching it last night and being very disappointed. I think it's a lot to do with Netflix. because me and Britt had watched Grown Ups the night before, and then I should have really done a Adam Sandler, but no, not happening. So Adam Sandler I had started doing the good, the bad, the what the fuck's of him, but I cancelled that really. And then we watched Grown Up 2 on Netflix, and it was cut. And after all these films I've got, I was disappointed I didn't come upstairs and get the Blu-ray. Obviously they cut out Lonely Island's bit for the car wash, they cut out David Spade being sick, they cut out some little bits and harsh cuts. I was like, why? It's Netflix. Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand why that even happened. Then we watched Zigzag, and then we watched Sharkenstein. I tell you what, out of the three, Sharkenstein was the best. It was the worst film, made-wise, but it was more entertaining than that. Wesley Snipes is a very and character in it. He's in it bits and bobs. It just doesn't seem to flow anywhere. So yeah, that was Zigzag. As I say, I was just totally disappointed, because it's got in the back here, the star and writer of Blade 1 and 2 reunite. Yeah, so again, it's never been released in the UK. That is something that should have just came out on a DVD premiere. So anyway, in the background, Game of Death is trying to load. So I remember when I did Good, the Bad, and What the Fuck's with Wesley Snipes a while ago, I believe I tried to watch Game of Death, and if you've watched this and you've watched the other ones, I'm not going to go back and watch the other ones, so thank you for watching the other ones. I probably would have tried to watch Game of Death, and that's the reason why Game of Death is sat on the shelf opened, because I would have opened it, because I had bought it brand new. And it not playing. It doesn't play in the editing room, and it plays in the bedroom, because I tried to watch it, and I was like, fuck my life, I need to watch this while I'm editing and take some notes. Now, I don't have time to sit and watch the film and hate the night, so this is why I'm wrapping this up. I need to wrap this video up. I've got a music video in production at the moment. I've got a load of shit to do, but I will share you this one clip. Now, as speaking from an editor and director, and I know I don't do anything massive budget these days, I'm too fucking lazy. I mean, look at me, I'm lying in my bed with a fucking light from the ceiling. If I had Wesley fucking Snipes and Ernie fucking Hudson, two of the icons of my childhood in movies, walking down the street, and I had a shot, that's all you would fucking need. You wouldn't need to do this. What is that? Why put Wesley Snipes right down the middle in green as an overlay? Why? There's no reason to do that. Now, the start of the film as well is a bit where Wesley Snipes has got a Cyclops eye for some strange reason, and then I had to turn it off. I was getting that frustrated. So yeah, that's done. So that's Game of Death out the way. I'm not watching anymore. So this is the top 5 best and worst Wesley Snipes in my opinion. So a recap of this. So there's been a little jump cut of the television that if you are in sound mind of filmmaking, I still need to film that. So let's talk about the worst films. At number 1, let's go Game of Death, because I'm not even going to bother finishing it. Straight up there. Next, number 2, Gallows Walkers. Gallows Walkers had fucking potential. The front cover is amazing. Wesley Snipes is in jail when this comes out. Blade in a western. DDP's even in it. Whoo's bird. Next one, Hard Luck. Hard Luck. You can't better not see my list. Hard Luck, right? Reuniting Wesley Snipes and Mario Van Peebles, right? You can probably guess where's in the number top 5. Hard Luck was bad, man. It's crossed between a porno going on and some weird side story that just literally someone's went this jumble sale of fucking footage. Number 4, Cutthroat City, recent one. As I say, that was another stinker. That would go with Zigzag, right? Literally, Zigzag lives around there. I had high hopes of Cutthroat City. Number 5, Future Sport, which was another one that came along in very early DVD days where Wesley Snipes was on there. Dean Cain was still making his name for himself in the films, and Wesley Snipes got that long hair, sort of over glorified cameo. It's just stung up the joint. And an honourable mention for his worst films. I know people are going to be a bit weird with this, but I want to say Brooklyn's Finest. I think Brooklyn's Finest was 3 different ideas for a Training Day 2 that just didn't. Again, 3 different films, and they tried to do a Pulp Fiction and it just didn't work. It's some of that I haven't recovered off. Wesley Snipes is in there. There's a lot of other great actors in there as well, but for me personally, just didn't live up to the hype. Now, talking about the best, so we'll start at the bottom as an honourable mention. I'm putting Expendables 3. As I say, I rewatched that. I told Paul Ray that this morning. He was like, what? I was like, look, it's really good for Wesley Snipes coming into it. In at number 5, Disappearing Acts. As I say, I watched that twice in a day. Twice in a day I watched that film, and when you look at this kind of stuff, bang, he fucking nails it. That in the top 5 shows you how good he was as an actor away from action and comedy. At number 4, Rising Sun. When you heavy hit against Sean Connery, I still think this film's great, of all the twists and the turns and how far advanced it was for a storytelling point of like where we are now, swapping heads, manipulating, then laserdisc kind of mini disc kind of thing, but like manipulating footage, CCTV, the clash of cultures. But then it does get a bit weird with a door open and like, is he going to sleep with Sean Connery's girl? Is this really going down? It does get a little bit confusing there. But I do have a VHS. I had seen it. It's buried over there. Matt brought us a VHS back from Italy, and it's completely graffitied by everyone who was out that night. Hang on a minute. Is it handy? Because if it's not handy, I'm not... Oh, it's handy. It is handy. Here it is. I knew exactly what it was. Look. Solve, tack, smoke, nah, but didn't. Mitch Laddie signed there. Yeah. That came all the way from Italy to get absolutely abused. But look at that, man, inside. Looks like mint. But cheers, Matt. He brought us that back. And I got a copy of Due South for some reason, but that was really cool for me to get that. In at number 3, New Jack City. Wesley Snipes is terrifying in that, and Mario Van Peebles directed that. That, to me, is just as good as Goodfellas. Just going to say that. You know what I mean? It's that good. Amazing cast. Chris Rock's in there, you name it. But Wesley Snipes is terrifying in that. And then to see them reunite years later and do Hard Luck, you're like, what the fuck? In at number 2, Blade. I think Blade is, as everyone remembers at my age, seeing Blade on VHS and that opening bloodbath scene. It's just, you know what I mean? And it just kick-started Marvel. Like, Wesley Snipes doesn't get enough credit for how much he, you know, came on board at the right time, because apart from that, you look years before this, The Phantom and stuff like that was getting made, and, you know, the superhero movies really weren't taken serious until, boom, here comes Blade. And then at number 1, Demolition Man. Demolition Man is one of my favourite films ever made. It is. I just love it. I love how far advanced it is. Stallone, Snipes. Snipes is the ultimate bad guy. He shouldn't be that funny and that dangerous at the same time. He can make you laugh your head off, but even that look, and he's got the 2 different coloured eyes, and he's got that, like, fucking watch your boggle, the fucking haircut going on there. He's fucking terrifying. And then just look at him when he gets out there and he can absolutely just destroy her. It's been well documented that Wesley Snipes is so fast that he needs to slow it down on camera. And that's something like Expendables did. They tried to give him enough time, and he was still shit hot on it as well. So it's just a shame that Wesley Snipes never returned to the Undisputed series. Undisputed 1 with Vin Rames, and Wesley Snipes was a boxing movie in prison. But the Undisputed series took a massive change when Scott Adkins and Michael Jar White went head to head in the second one, and Scott Adkins, just being an absolute freak of nature, would then go on to be in 3 and 4 because his character was just absolutely lethal. And it's down to Scott's ability to do some of the most amazing in-fight and just practice and practice and practice until he perfects it. It's been in Scott Adkins' Good, the Bad and the What the Fucks, when Scott Adkins just, I'm having a cup of coffee trying to wake up, I'm hanging, and Scott Adkins is walking on his hands and knees and flips forward onto his feet. And I'm like, what the fuck? How do you even do that? And at that time, Scott's got a couple of years on me as well. How can you even be that flexible? But even then, I remember saying, like, it would have been mint if Wesley Snipes had came back and Wesley Snipes fought Scott Adkins' biker in 3 or number 4 of the Undisputed, because, you know, that's great. He's an amazing martial artist, Wesley Snipes, and I think he's such an underrated actor. So now I just need to go and film the Game of Death bit that you've already seen. But this has been the epic end of Wesley Snipes, the good, the bad, the what the fucks. An amazing actor, well underrated, amazing martial artist, really good comedy as well. But when it comes to good, the bad, and the what the fucks, he's a great example of someone had a rise, he had a peak, and he's had a wave. Do you know what I mean? And he's got a wave because he's respected by his fans and he's loved by his fans. But everybody needs a bit of cash in their hands. That rhymes? Right, goodbye for now.
So, something you didn't know about that movie.
Chances of the camera surviving, JJ?
0 to none.
0 to none.
The tape will survive.
Hello in the Wesley Snipes outtakes. Right, Wildcats. I was in the attic and there it was. Somebody has butchered a big box and then put it back in a big box. Obviously Warner Brothers home video, like, why chop it up? Wesley Snipes is on the front there, next to the guy also from Police Academy. Woody Harrelson does appear in this. I was going to watch it, then I realised, you know, I found this for 20 pence in a charity shop and it's got mould on. I'm not willing to put mould on because I watch my ones behind us and I'm doing a series about Corey Haim at the moment, revisiting his, and some of Corey Haim's movies are only on VHS, so I'm not willing to sacrifice mould. Mould, no. But yeah, random outtake for the Wesley Snipes video. Here's an outtake. I'm going to see if this does what it did the other night to us. Now in the editing room it didn't even load. This might just shoot. Hang on. I didn't even get this far in the editing room. See, it's doing that. It keeps going back to the menu screen. Look, play. This got me the other night. See, there you go. There's your outtake for you. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.